listeners in various locations, fostering meaningful interactions and driving brand awareness.
Comprehensive coverage with stations.
Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good morning. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. President Salva Kiir has relieved General Paul Nang as the Chief of Defense Forces of the SSPDF and Chief Administrator of Greater Pibor Administrative Area in Republican decrees. The Eastern Equatoria Governor has disclosed plans to operationalize the Torrid University of Science and Technology in a meeting with the head of state on Monday. And the head of South Sudan's delegation at the 44th session of the UN FAO conference in Rome has called on investors to explore untapped opportunities in the country's rivers, lakes, and flood plains for farming and agribusiness. This is stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo, and now the news in detail. President Salva Kiir has relieved the Chief of Defense Forces of the SSPDF, General Paul Nang, and the Chief Administrator of the Greater Pibor Administrative Area, Peter Mazey. General Dao Aturjong has been appointed as the new Chief of Defense Forces, replacing General Nang, who held the post since December 2024. In a separate decree, the President reappointed Gola Boyoy as Chief Administrator of the Greater Pibor Administrative Area. He replaces Peter Mazey. Mr. Gola previously held the same position from April 2024 following the dismissal of locally Ame Bulent. However, he was relieved of the role in a presidential decree on the 17th of January 2025 after serving for just 9 months. Eastern Equatoria Governor Luis Lobong Lejore has announced plans to operationalize the Torrid University of Science and Technology following a meeting with the head of state on Monday. Governor Lobong said the institution aims to provide affordable higher education for students in Eastern Equatoria, especially those whose families cannot afford to send them outside the state for further studies. He appealed to development partners and well-wishers for financial support, stressing that education is vital to sustaining peace and progress in the region. During the meeting, the governor reported that the state remains stable, crediting this to local communities and leaders who have prioritized dialogue and peaceful coexistence. The head of state welcomed the university initiative and reaffirmed the government's commitment to expanding access to higher education nationwide. He also praised the people and leadership of Eastern Equatoria for their continued dedication to peace, describing the state as a model for the rest of the country. The head of South Sudan's delegation at the 44th session of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization conference in Rome has called on investors to explore untapped opportunities in the country's rivers, lakes, and floodplains for farming and agribusiness. Lilia Cole, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, said South Sudan has huge potential but lacks the technical and financial resources needed to unlock it, generate revenue, and create jobs. She emphasized the need for a strong investment to grow the agricultural sector. The 44th FAO conference is being held in Rome under the theme Unlocking Potentials with Technology and Innovation for Improved Productivity and Sustainability in Agri-Food Systems. According to the Agriculture Ministry, South Sudan has 30 million hectares of fertile land. The ministry also establishes the country's water bodies could rather irrigate 5 million hectares of land. South Sudan has also a youthful population with 75% of citizens under the age of 30. This is our Radio Morning News. And now to the international scene. Kenyan police have said at least 7 people have been killed during anti-government protests and 567 arrested. Police opened fire on demonstrators, and earlier, Dr. Aaron Sikuku, a medic at Eagle Nursing Home on the outskirts of Nairobi, told the BBC that bodies of 2 people who died of gunshot wounds had been brought to the facility. He said hundreds of protesters had gathered outside his hospital demanding to take away the bodies. The demonstrations marked the 35th anniversary of the historic Sabasaba, meaning 7/7 protest of 7 July 1990, which launched Kenya's push for multi-party democracy. The death toll from flash floods that struck central Texas on Friday has now climbed to more than 100 people, and an unknown number of others are missing. Search and rescue teams are wading through mud-piled riverbanks as more rain and thunderstorms threaten the region, but hope was fading of finding any more survivors 4 days after the catastrophe. Camp Mystic, a Christian all-girls summer camp, confirmed at least 27 girls and staff were among the dead. 10 girls and a camp counselor are still missing. This is iRadio Morning News, and to end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. President Salva Kiir has relieved General Paul Nang as the Chief of Defense Forces of the SSPDF and Chief Administrator of the Greater Pibor Administrative Area in Republican decrees. The Eastern Equatoria Governor has disclosed plans to operationalize the Torrid University of Science and Technology in a meeting with the head of state on Monday. And the head of South Sudan's delegation at the 44th session of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization conference in Rome has called on investors to explore untapped opportunities in the country's rivers, lakes, and floodplains for farming and agribusiness. That's the end of iRadio Morning News. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +211 925 287 870. It's also a WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at 8 o'clock. I'm Lasuba. Memo. Thanks for listening.